My program is in 4 steps, and there's no immediate payoff right away. So you've got to be willing to work on longevity for years and years for the rest of your life so that it pays off in the long run. We're making investments now that will pay later. Phase 1, after we get settled with your information and your background and everything, we start to build a foundation over the course of the first year. The first year is putting good habits in place, setting goals, and starting to make progress on many small things that will help you be able to grow more muscle and lose weight later. So there's no immediate, 3 months you're losing 30 pounds. I refuse to do that. That won't work. At the beginning, we're working on stretches, step-ups involving your leg muscles, your arm and chest muscles. Try to build your core and lose weight. It depends on you and your situation, limitations, and where you are and what you want to achieve. But it looks very different from normal personal trainer at the gym kind of stuff, because we're just putting in simple things that will help prevent you from getting injured or disabled later in life in your 70s, 80s, and 90s. So that first year is all about not getting hurt. No setbacks. Very gradual, putting in habits, doing stretches, getting your time schedule in place so that you're doing about half an hour a day plus 3 cardio workouts a week. And cardio means more than just walking. So you're going to want to figure out how to incorporate this into your schedule. What is it? It's about 10 hours a week, right? And if you're doing 4 or 5 hours a week now, that's a great start. By the end of the first year, you're going to be doing 10 hours a week, half an hour a day. You can do it at home or in a gym. We'll be working on all these different exercises that you may have seen or you will see me do that help prevent you from being a victim later in life, from needing help, going to the bathroom when you're 90 years old. So first one is just the foundation. And again, I'm coaching you and we're taking things one small step at a time. And the worst thing that can happen is an injury. So we're going to go very slowly and stay under your injury threshold and just keep building in tiny steps. At the end of the first year, you will not have lost a lot of weight. If you have lost a lot of weight, we're doing something wrong. Because we're just trying to get things set up so you'll see results later. So in the first year, we'll be testing VO2 max and starting to find those exercises you enjoy and putting in place a regime that at least every 10 days or so, you're out on the track or in the pool or on a rower doing hard level 3 work so that every 10 week or 10 days you're out on the track or in the pool or in the rowing machine or stairs or whatever you enjoy, putting out zone 3 work. So we're going to work on those 4x4 exercises where you try really your most serious effort for 4 minutes and then take a break for 4 minutes and then on for 4 minutes and then off. We're going to do 4 of those. We're going to try to do that once every week to 10 days. Again, you can imagine putting all this in place in year 1 is not going to be easy to make it repeatable and reliable so you can build on top of it. So we have a lot of work to do in year 1. The key to the first year is that you don't fall off the wagon. You don't stop. Whether I'm coaching you or not, if a year from now you're not working on all this stuff, your whole longevity program has failed. And it doesn't matter whether it was intense and great or whether it was gradual and slow. If you just don't manage to incorporate it into your schedule and build those habits, and you've always got some excuses for not doing it, then you have no longevity program. So just getting through the first years shows your commitment to your longevity success. And that's when the real training starts, because we've made a lot of progress in making you more unbreakable in the gym and getting you more ready to start building. All right, so phase 2 is the second and third year when we are building and we're starting to see results. We're also probably reducing whatever fat you have. I've got about 3 pounds of fat left to go, and I work on both these things, building up and taking down fat. And it's a balance that you're always going to be working on, and we're going to make, again, small incremental improvements, but you will start to see results. So inside of the first half year of the second year, you're going to start to see you'll see it in the mirror for sure. That's when I want you to see it in the mirror. In the first year, not so much. So years 2 and 3, we're building up a really good, let's say something like 10 to 15 pounds of muscle and taking away 10 to 20 pounds of fat if that's what you need to do. Now, after year 1, we have a platform we can build on. We have your VO2 max. We know your numbers. We know your stretching ability, your capability going downstairs and upstairs, and you're working on your core, and all these habits are now in place. Now we're going to go up, and we're going to try to lose 10 to 20 pounds in the next 2 years, and we're going to try to gain 10 to 15 pounds of muscle. Even if you're a woman, we're going to try to gain 10 pounds of muscle in the next 2 years and try to build on that. So you become an everyday athlete. It's part of your weekly routine to have 6 workout sessions, in the gym style workout sessions, muscle building, and 3 cardiovascular workouts, including 1 zone 3 workout every week. Okay, and that's going to go from years 2 and 3. At which point, and I mean, in the first 6 months of year 2, you're going to start to see real results in the mirror. You don't need a scale to tell you how you're doing. You're going to look in the mirror and see something that you didn't see before. So that's going to be all the way through year 3. Now then, by year 3, you're in very good shape. You are 75-80% of where we want to be. So in phase 3, we're just building on top of that and making that robust and aiming for the end of year 5 to be in your peak physical condition. So we're going to add another 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, and we're going to take your body fat percentage down where we want it, which will probably be in the high teens to low 20s. That's the full longevity warrior package where you're just loving it and you're building and you're seeing results. Everyone else is seeing your results, and you're going to have a lot more opportunities open for you when you are that much stronger 3 to 5 years from now. Then we go to phase 4, which starts 5 years from now, and you might be, say, 60, 65, even 70 years old. That's fine. At that point, our goal, we switch from building to maintenance. So we're going to try to hit your peak muscle mass 5 years from now, and then we're going to try to hold it as long as we possibly can. And I'm sure you know that will take more and more and more of your time as you get older. So let's say we hit your peak muscle mass when you're 60. All right, now in your 60s, you're just doing it and loving it. You're playing sports. You could easily do plenty of mountain biking in your 60s, skydiving, whatever you want. Your 60s will be wide open to any kinds of physical activities you want. All you have to do is not lose it, and you'll just be, an athlete in your 60s really enjoying physical activity. So you can imagine that in your 60s, you're spending 10 to 15 hours a week on your physical activities, right? And that includes tennis or jogging or whatever you enjoy that may take 2 or 3 hours. But in your 70s, we have to take that up because you can't get away with the same amount of work in your 70s that you did in your 60s. So in your 70s, we got to do 15 to 20 hours a week Fortunately, in your 70s, you have 15 to 20 hours a week. You have the time. You may be putting in 20, 25, 30 hours a week doing physical activities. That's great. It's great for your mind. It's great for preventing all kinds of things that could happen to you later. That's the kind of thing we're thinking about. Closer to 20 hours a week in your 70s. Guess what happens in your 80s? 25 to 30 for most people. That's your time to be the most active, because it's very likely that by 90 something is going to start to slow you down. We hope not, and certainly nobody's cognitive ability stays super sharp into his or her 90s, but your 80s could be a very active time because you're focused on getting through your physical activities every single day, probably looking at 2 to 3 hours a day in your 80s. And then in your 90s, we're going to see what the options are. You may be a super fit 90-year-old who can do all kinds of things, or any number of possible things could happen by then. So that's just something we'll come to later. But the goal for this program is to get you to 90 with fantastic 3 decades, 60s, 70s, and 80s, optimized for performance, for minimizing risk, and for optimizing your ability to maintain the muscle mass that you built before in phases 2 and 3. So to recap, we've got the foundation of year 1, we've got good solid building in year 2 and 3. We're going to double that again in years 3 and years 4 and 5, and then you're going to be at your peak muscle mass and capability in 5 years. And then we're just going to work hard to maintain that for the next 30 years. And that, in 4 phases over 40 years, is the Infinite Game of Life program. If you're ready to join me in the Infinite Game of Life, if you realize that you've got no time to lose, book your onboarding call now. Talk to me and let's get this going.